I think the thing that I love most about tiny living is it makes you really conscious about the things that you need. It becomes less about want. You realize what's important, and then you find space for the things that are important. Tiny living is just a different way to live consciously. Hi, I'm Kim. This is my container home in the Sonoran Desert just outside Tucson, Arizona. I have been living in my container home for about 3 years. It is 8 feet by 40 feet. My mom and I purchased 3 2-acre parcels together. We're currently living and developing one of those 2-acre parcels. I live in this container behind me, and she lives in a little casita behind that. In Arizona, outdoor living is the most important thing for us, so we've added on a 40-foot by 10-foot porch on the back side of this container, and then have a couple of little porches on the front side. All right, let's check out the inside. Welcome to my container home. It's 320 square feet. One of the things that I really love are my plants. We wanted to utilize the Arizona sunshine, so we have these big windows and making sure that all the plants have a place to live. So we decided to go with a container home because we have some friends in Minnesota that really wanted to do one. They had the expertise, we had the land, and it was a little bit of a joint love affair. Because I'm on the road 5-6 days out of the week, my mom became the project manager. So a lot of the decisions were made through her, and then she would call me and be like, hey, this is what we're planning. This is not the first house that she has built, so she had some experience with the layout, designing where doors would go. So starting behind me is my living room, and one of the most important things for me in this space was the creative aspect of it. So I asked a local Tucson artist, Danny Martin, to come in and paint this mural on the back walls. You'll find his art everywhere in Tucson, and it's just so unique and beautiful. So that's actually one of the very first things that I had done. The other thing, and again in support of my plants, was to make sure they all had a space. So you'll see that all of the shelving throughout here is reclaimed mesquite out of Tumacacori. We had our friends help us sand it down, and then we mounted it onto the walls. This is not reclaimed mesquite. This is just something from like IKEA. I'm really into stones and different types of artwork and books, so I wanted to make sure that all of that had an area to be displayed. Obviously, storage in a tiny space is super important. So one of the ottomans, we can put stuff down there. This is my vacuum cleaner, which I'm very proud of. She hangs on the wall. I vacuum daily because we live in the desert and there's a lot of natural elements that like to come into the house. So this is an easy place that I can pop her off, vacuum every night after I'm done for the day. So the thing that works really well in this space for me is the couch. I am someone that doesn't have to do a ton of computer work with my job, so I just tuck my things up under here and then I can do any of that from this space. This is where I have coffee in the morning when it's cold, if I'm not sitting outside. And I would say that if I had to change one thing, while I do very much enjoy the couch, I would say that it doesn't have adequate storage for a tiny home. Most people, I would say, have areas where they can tuck things under. This is, I can slide things under here, but it's not exactly storage friendly. I've been here about 3 years. I referee college basketball as my main job, and then I also am a massage therapist and I teach a little bit of yoga. My mom and I both wanted to explore tiny. My mom is a minimalist, and I would say she was the kind of start of this. She is very into compost toilet. She goes down to the watershed management down in Tucson and is really into water reclamation and water harvesting. And so I would say that she's definitely the one that spearheaded this. And I always wanted to be with my mom as she got older. Like, this was kind of a dream that we could live together and work the land, tend the land together, and tiny made sense. We don't need anything big, and when you live in Arizona, you want to spend most of your time outside, so there's not really a big reason to have big room inside. My mom has a nonprofit called Evolve to Live, and it focuses on supporting folks in different transitions in life, whether that's birth, death, divorce, changing jobs, whatever that is. And we had this kind of idea that we could have a brick and mortar space that folks could come and live or transition or do whatever they need to in kind of like a really serene environment. And so we found this property during COVID and thought it's big enough space that we can start that kind of vision. It's been a little passion project. Everything we want to build out here will be tiny and off-grid and eco-friendly. So as we move back here into the middle of the house, one of the things that was super important was that we use our outdoor living space. And so because of that, we've put in this 10-foot slider. And while it serves as a beautiful door, it also brings in so much natural light. The sun sets right here, and so all of these plants really utilize that great light. So as we move back here into the kitchen, this area probably could be used for better storage, but because plants are so important to me, this was a space that I wanted to make sure that they had a home. This trunk opens up and I can put some storage stuff in here. And then I utilize this for any plant babies that I'm growing. We have the kitchen space over here, which we just used butcher block from Home Depot. And then we have a smaller refrigerator, storage up here. And then we have storage all down here as well. So most important things for me is coffee in the morning. So I have that set up right here. We do not have an oven or a range in this space. So we have a hot plate. I don't cook very much. So that's all I need. That's perfect for me. And then this is the toaster oven where if I do need to heat something up, we use this. This sink was my mom's idea. She wanted this sink so badly. I hate this sink. The sink is flat on the bottom, and so every time I make something and there's food that gets stuck on here, I have to take out the grill of the bottom of it and actually manually wipe it down. This was an area of contention for my mom and I. One thing that's super important to me as a ceramicist is I am a collector of mugs. When I moved into a tiny space, I got rid of a lot of things, but I was not willing to part with my handmade mugs. I couldn't figure out a way to display my mugs. So I found this way. These are iron, handmade by an artist that I purchased. And then all of these mugs are made by a different artist. I made that one. So you'll see here again, this is the mesquite that we brought in from Tumacockery. It's all reclaimed, live edge. Not being the biggest cook, I find that this is plenty of space for what I need. If I make breakfast, I'm usually making eggs in the morning and the hot plate works perfectly. It fits and tucks away up nice on top of the refrigerator, and that gives me more space for other things. If we do have people over, we usually take it outside and we will barbecue. And that's where we will cook most of our food if that's the case. You'll notice that the road name is Riverbend. We wanted to give this property a name, which is the Riverbend House. It came from a song that my mom had heard about what's around the riverbend, which is the constant changing of things and the excitement about what's around every turn. So the backsplash actually came as an inspiration of River Rock, and that's how we ended up with that.
The future may be uncertain, but you can create peace of mind for you and your loved ones with an estate plan. And that's where Trust and Will comes in. It's a simple digital solution that helps you create state-specific estate planning documents with ease. Whether you're newly married, a parent, a homeowner, or caring for aging loved ones, Trust and Will offers the tools to protect your family. Choose a will or trust-based plan depending on your needs, starting at just $199. Whatever you choose, Trust and Will lets you update your estate plan anytime, which is super helpful as your life changes. We've been meaning to create a will for far too long, but felt overwhelmed about where to begin and didn't realize a trust might be a better fit. Trust and Will provided the info we needed and made the estate planning process quick and easy. Now our entire family has clarity, no matter what the future holds. Ready to protect what matters most? Trust and Will makes estate planning simple, affordable, and online. Get your plan in place today and save 20% with our code TUBE20. Scan the QR code on the screen or use our link in the description below.
So as we move back further into the house and down the hallway, as we were coming back from COVID, I collected a few posters as live music was coming back. And so these are a few of them that I was able to attend. Moving further back, we have our shelves again with the reclaimed mesquite. I travel a lot, and so one of the things I love to do is pick up different art pieces from wherever I'm visiting. This is an artist that I fell in love with. I have a couple of his pieces. I'm also a massage therapist. I love essential oils. I make different blends, and so this was a great way for me to be able to see everything I had and display them in a quickly accessible way. And then to my right is our bathroom. In order to save space, we've used pocket doors for the bathroom and bedroom. We wanted to make sure that we had a fairly large shower. You'll see the river rock again incorporated into the flooring here. One thing I would change is we have this rain head, shower head, and I would not do that again. I would have something coming out of the wall. And then you'll see this reclaimed mesquite back threading through the bathroom. We have a pedestal sink. I don't ever use this sink. It's so tiny. So everything I do, I just take it to the kitchen sink. I guess you thought you had to have a sink in the bathroom, but living in a tiny space, I don't actually know that you need a sink in the bathroom. If I was to redo it, I would take out the sink completely, just utilize the kitchen sink, and then have more space for storage. All right, and stepping into the back of the house is my bedroom. So in here, obviously very tight space, but it was important for me that I fit a queen bed. And so because it's a queen bed, I sacrificed a little bit of space on both sides. Behind this pillow, you can't see it right now, but there is a tiny little nightstand. So if somebody is sharing the space with me, there is enough space for your phone or a glass of water. Both the front of the house and the back of the house have air filter. This is something that I put in a little bit later in the build simply because of all of the dust that does come through in the desert. I like to have my windows open all the time, and so that was something that I found that was super important, is to have the air filter in both spaces. And then we have a mini split as well in the front and the back, and so these work amazingly. They were about $5,000 a piece, but they are definitely, living in the desert, it's critical to have these as well. The other thing in here that we have is this slider, and it goes out onto a porch. Because this space is open to the road that our neighbors drive on, we put up a metal fence around it. We have some native vines that are growing up, and then this is a plum tree. So in the springtime, this provides a lot of privacy. And then we have a little sitting area out here as well. This is the closet. Again, something that was important is that I had an area that I could have everything kind of organized. It does take up some space. It's very tight walking through here, but ultimately all that I'm doing back here is either sleeping or getting dressed, so it was an okay sacrifice. This is an IKEA build out, and so it's got drawers for everything. My shoes, in the wintertime, these jackets will get put up into the sheds, and then I'll bring out my summer clothes, and then in the wintertime, my summer clothes go into storage, and I bring out my winter jackets. I really love this bedroom, and I sleep really well in here. It is tight and it's small, but there's also something very cozy about it. When I'm laying in bed, the sun will rise up over through here, so you get a lot of beautiful sunrise moments. And during monsoon season, I am a big fan of opening up the windows and seeing the lightning. So this container is where I live, and then my mom, which is the first thing we built, was her casita, and that was built by the Mennonites, and so she lives in a little tiny home just a stone's throw on the backside of my porch. That we started off, it was a shed, and it was built 12 by 20 feet, which is as big as you can get without having to have a permit. And then after the shed was built, we framed it, insulated it, and she also has a mini split in there as well. It's fully equipped with a refrigerator, she has running water, and then as soon as we get that bathroom built for her, she'll be fully sustainable. We had a bigger vision with the container to do multi-containers. We ran into some problems with permitting. This is the only container that we know of in the area, and Pinal County definitely was a little unsure of what we were doing, so we simplified it by doing a single container. This is 8 feet by 40 feet. So when we looked into getting the container, we purchased it from a company in South Tucson, and the container itself was about $10,000, which is about $5,000 more than we anticipated it because of COVID. We live in Pinal County. To have it built out as a stick-built house, so we had to get the foundation engineered professionally, so that was $6,000 to have them come in and build the foundation, pour the posts for it. It was quite the process with the plans. We had to go back and forth with the county quite a bit because they hadn't seen a container build before. So that was tricky. Because we started off with raw land, so we're talking about putting in the electrical, putting in the septic, putting in the container, all of those things, we were probably into this project about $300,000. The price feels a lot when you say it like, $300,000, but we were starting with nothing. Casita was about $20,000. That was a little bit more expensive. You could probably do all of this a lot less expensive than we did. Some of the things that we spent a little bit more money on is like this 10-foot slider was 10 grand. Our porch is 40 foot by 10 foot, and so it's even bigger than the container is. That was another $50,000. We knew we wanted to spend our time outside, so we spent a lot of money making sure that that area was comfortable. The total for each parcel, the two without the well shares were about $10,000, and the ones with the well shares were about $15,000. Now the properties around us that are 2 acres, the same size lots that we have that do have water, are all going for about $60,000. So the market has changed a lot with this area. Marana, the area that we're in, is growing rapidly. Living on close proximity to my mom, she's about 50 feet from my container, has been quite amazing. And we always joke, I said, you can't die because I can't do this project without you. It's gonna sound woo-woo, but we believe in soul contracts. And I do think that my mom and I came into this life together, to work together, to do projects together. So it is definitely both of our little heart projects. I don't think either of us would be here without each other. She is the workhorse though, and she is, out there moving rocks, planting trees. She is the motor that keeps this place running.
Thanks for stopping by Tiny House Expedition. I'm Alexis.
And I'm Christian, and this is our DIY tiny house on our homestead in Oregon.
Looking for more tiny inspiration? Watch these videos. But if you're looking for something specific, visit our channel homepage to browse tiny homes by category.
And don't forget to subscribe.
Hope to see you soon.